Hey, yo, what's the deal? This your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag, you know what I'm saying? As of this recording, it is 10:12. 10:12. It is 10:12 p.m., December 8th, 2024. But this video is actually being uploaded December 9th at 3 p.m. You know what I'm saying? 3 p.m. You know what I'm saying? So, as of this recording, I don't know if there's any news. The thing that I did here was that, today, which is tomorrow, today, which was yesterday, today, December 9th, which was yesterday, December 8th, with the news that Ray Phoenix it was someone named Chris Featherstone. Chris Featherstone saying that he is going to reveal some stuff about the Lucha Bros, right? And their time with AEW and how it is going to get very ugly. Very, very ugly. And I'm like, so I don't know, man. At the time of this recording, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. I really don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's just another bombshell for Tony Khan, boy. And it's just another negative part for AEW. Enough said. And then I also heard, not even wrestling related, but I heard some shit about Jigga. Like, Jigga was also raping, Jigga, had allegedly raped a 13-year-old, back in the days with Diddy. Oh, man, I don't know, yo. Some crazy shit. But let me get on with the video. So, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the value of wrestlers repackaging, of not only gimmick changes, but mostly of repackaging. So with wrestlers repackaging, and such, I say this, with a gimmick change, and repackaging. I had made a video about the difference between, wrestlers changing their gimmicks and also wrestlers getting a repackage, right? And so, which one do I think holds a lot more weight between the two? It's a tough one because I'm going to say, because again, when you're trying to find the right pieces to the puzzle, right? And when I mean the right pieces to the puzzle, I mean a gimmick that fits you and the characteristics of that gimmick that fits you, right? And so I'm probably going to say repackaging has a lot more weight because, you can be something, right? But it takes like maybe one or two different tweaks in your character to make a whole. You know what I'm saying? Perfect example. Look at The Undertaker, right? Look at The Undertaker, right? Look at how many repackages he's had over the years, right? In terms of, the dead man gimmick, right? He's had so many different authorizations of that gimmick that, it was needed for the time, I'm just in the bathroom, just looking at something. It was needed for the time, right? And he had so much different repackaging to keep up with the times. Remember, Attitude Era Undertaker was more of a goth type of gimmick, right? It went from supernatural stuff to being, I forgot to clean this off. It went from being a supernatural person to having like this goth persona. And remember, goth, people going with this whole emo goth stuff, at the time of the 90s, right? So having a repackage in that gimmick, it made a lot of fucking sense. It really, really did. It did because, again, you need to find, different tones with your gimmick, right? I mean, a police officer needs a gun, right? Needs a gun and needs a badge and stuff, right? And then to tweak the character, he needs, an attitude adjustment and stuff, to keep up with the times, right? To get the evolution of the character. Triple H is another one, right? Triple H is, when Hunter Hearst Helmsley became Triple H, and after DX, remember he was the Cerebral Assassin, right? He was the Cerebral Assassin. Then he was the King of Kings. No, he was the Game. I'm sorry, he was the Game, and then because if you think about this, right, Triple H's gimmick, right, was he was a badass. He basically was a legit badass. Who would get what the fuck he want by any means necessary. But if you also notice, when I think of Triple H and stuff, I think of more of the heavy metal rock scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was more heavy metal rock. And, like that, that gimmick and persona, again, it fit during the time. Why? Because, heavy metal and rock during that time. I mean, you had Korn, you had fucking, Metallica, you had all that. I'm not a heavy metal fan, so I don't know shit. You had, who else? You had fucking System of the Down and all that shit, right? Pantera, all that shit. So his character blended on into, fucking Motorhead. His character blended on into, that scene. And the repackaging, basically, of that scene. Again, King of Kings and everything else. Again, it was more of the heavy metal aspect of the Attitude Era, right? And it made sense. It made a lot of sense, And so with a repackaging, see, gimmick is basically, you're just now being somebody else. You know what I mean? You're now being somebody else. Like, I went from, I went from fucking, from a mailman to a firefighter. Sting is a great example of a gimmick change, right? Sting, in WCW, he had, a legit gimmick change, right? That benefited his career, right? The same thing with The Undertaker. Look, they both got shit in common, right? Sting actually, if you think about this, Sting actually had to repackaged the Surface Sting gimmick in 95, 96. He didn't use the flat top anymore. He had, he went with his real hair, like short black hair. But then, in that same period, he changed his gimmick around to now being more of, like the Crow. The Crow was basically, the Crow was the shit. I mean, with Brandon Lee and stuff, so Sting fit, he fit his character to that. You know what I'm saying? And then it got popular. Why? Because, remember, he was Mr. WCW. That is WCW. Sting is WCW. So, it fit with the crowd and everything. It fit with the time, dark and everything. And of course, there were definitely some repackaging there too. He went from, Crow Sting to NWO Wolfpack Sting, which is basically a hybrid of, Crow Sting and Surface Sting. And then remember, he was a heel. And, it was just, he definitely, repackaged his gimmick and such, right? But again, this was the gimmick, this was the gimmick that actually made him. He kept up with the times. And I just noticed something about Sting, too. Crow Sting, lasted a lot more longer than Surface Sting. I just realized that. I legit realized that. But you guys get the drift. And also remember, he was Joker Sting. It's a TV package into Joker Sting. So it wasn't really a gimmick change. It was more of a repackaging of the gimmick. But again, you try to find different things that, that fits the character or different characteristics that fits the gimmick. You know what I'm saying? It fits the gimmick and, so it's a lot of value. It's a lot of value because, again, like, basically you need character. You need tweaks. You need tweaks in the gimmick. So let's say someone who likes to brawl in the bar, right? A biker who likes to brawl in the bar. right? He has to, from the cartoony stuff, he has to add real life stuff, like, hitting motherfuckers with bottles and, with pool sticks and all that shit. You know what I mean? Having all these crazy, brawl fights and stuff. You can't talk about it. You got to be about it. Plain and simple. But all right, guys. But I'm about to be out, so maybe there might be other news. I don't know. I know shit is crazy right now. In pro wrestling and stuff. So again, after this recording, I don't. And this is December 8th, but we don't know if shit is popping off on December 9th. We don't know. All right, so I'm gonna holler at y'all. I'm definitely coming with a video tonight for sure. Peace.